you know me, I'm having the time of my life. Don't you slow me down, beg your pardon me. I wanna just party, yeah. I wanna just party.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out, don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Crisis? What crisis? Education? That crisis. Yes, there is a crisis in education because the latest figures from the CSEC exams show that only 18% of students who sit 5 or more subjects, inclusive of English and math, get a passing grade. Those numbers are atrocious, and today on Lead Story, we begin what will be a series of programs to investigate this problem, to diagnose this problem, and then to propose a way to treat with this problem. And I'll begin today by speaking with a few high school principals as we try to get to the root of why our students are doing so badly in external examinations. That's Lead Story. Let's start the show. Welcome to Lead Story on this Tuesday. My name is George Davis. You would have seen the numbers from the recent results from the CSEC exams. The exams sat earlier this year, and they make for dismal reading from a region-wide perspective. And where Jamaica is concerned, the numbers are bad. 18% of those students who sat 5 or more subjects, including English and math in that package of 5, only 18% of those students got a passing grade. Literally, it means, to make it more stark, for every 100 students who sat 5 or more subjects, inclusive of English and math, only 18 got a passing grade. And if that's not dismal, then I don't know what dismal is. If that is not redolent with a crisis, I don't know what a crisis is. And that's why we are going to be doing a series of programs here on Lead Story to look at education, because it cannot be that we continue to have results like this and continue business as usual. Something is obviously wrong. It's not the state of Denmark that something is rotten in. It's in the state of Jamaica, and all stakeholders must get on board. The blame game will take us nowhere. Constructive criticism will be ought to be the order of the day. Only through that kind of dialogue can we engage with the right things that will change the situation and allow many students to escape the fate of a life of poverty, crime, and the pursuit of goals and targets that only serve to make the nation state of Jamaica worse. So it is crucially important that we get education right, cycle after cycle. The government apportions a significant portion of the annual budget towards education. We have to finally ask ourselves the question, are we getting the best spend? How do we ensure that the billions pumped into education annually engineer the right outcomes, and that we are giving our students, our children, a chance to function in the future in this Jamaican society and outside? At 18%, 5 subjects, English and math included, only 18% passing, that will not take Jamaica to where it wants to be. It will cause us to become very uncompetitive in the future. A lot of futures will be blighted among our students, and our nation will continue in this trap, on this Ferris wheel, on this hamster wheel of low productivity and high crime, and the nation state will die eventually. Today, I'm turning for some perspective to the principal of Mona High School, Kevin Jones. I hope to be joined after the break by the principal of Marcus Garvey Technical High School. But guess what? Let's take the break here on Lead Story. So when we come back, we have a smooth run through with the principals as we begin the discussion on this very, very important issue.
What's your sign? You're dreamers. Don't care what other people say.
Our days get a little complex sometimes. Often so many things make sense, yet so many do not. We are being intentional about giving prominence to the big stories in order to clarify and enlighten. Lead Story explains who, what, when, where, why, and how. Lead Story with George Davis, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on CVM TV.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Five-star restaurant over here.
Radam.
No, you're kidding. This is your girl, Diva Madonna with a capital D. I'm a big chef, trust me.
You're a big chef, all right.
I don't think you can test me. And you are watching Cooking with Love on CVM TV.
Guys,
listen,
come, let me show you one. Cook with love.
Cook with love. This is so much love.
Celine, what you going? We can't say we're a friend now. Celine. We have to take on the road.
Yeah, man, we have to take out the same way. All right, Lord, thank you so much for this day.
Me, I do the work. Yeah. And the people, them accept it. Clarendon, Mandeville. But now we get to go into the inner city of Kingston.
I can't wait to learn more as we go across Jamaica into different churches to understand what they do.
No more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
What's your story? What's your sign? Who dreamers? Don't care what other people say. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive.
Back with us on Lead Story here on CVM TV. So, if you missed my opening monologue, it was bemoaning the poor results from the recent CSEC exams. Of all students who sat 5 subjects inclusive of math and English, only 18% achieved passes, and it's as dismal a picture as you can paint. We're down from 21% in 2023, which suggests that the problem, the putrefaction of the outcomes is getting even worse. I have with me Kevin Jones. He's a principal, or the principal rather, of Mona High School, and joining him is Aniona Jones, the principal of Marcus Garvey Technical High School. Mona High School, of course, in St. Andrew. Marcus Garvey Technical, named after our first national hero, and that is in St. Anne. I'm joined by the Joneses. Good afternoon, principals. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you.
Good, good. Hearing both of you loud and clear. All right, let me start with you, Madam Principal. The issue of the CSEC results and where we are today, and reading only 18% who did 5 subjects or more, and including math and English in that package, managed to get a pass. It does not sit well with me and many Jamaicans. It's been collective mourning on social media. How have you digested those numbers, Madam Principal?
I am also disappointed, but not surprised. One of the key things that I want Jamaica to be aware of is that many of our children do not necessarily have the kind of start that they need to be able to do well in the way that the CXC mathematics examination is written. It is written for superb conceptual understanding. So not just being able to use a formula, but understand how somebody came up with the formula in the first place. And that requires intense math instruction at a certain level, all the way from early childhood all the way through. And so with so many of our students getting all the way to grade 3 and not having the kind of foundation, and then we have the 3-year PEP series of exams showing us again the challenges with math, we are going to be expecting that the math outcomes at grade 11 are going to be what they are. I am by no means saying that the children should not make good progress, but we also have to look at the composition of the examination. And is the examination testing for what is really necessary now and what is going to be necessary in the future? Maybe we need to go back to the days of having basic math and general math. We also need to look at City and Guilds performance, and that should give us a better picture. For instance, my students at Marcus Garvey Technical tend to come to me reading 5 to 7 levels below where they need to be at grade 7. It becomes next to improbable, if not impossible, for teachers to move them 10 grade levels in 4.5 years. You see, I use this example all the time. Usain Bolt is in the blocks. Some of the children in our country are in the parking lot. And in the same period of time, they have to clip Usain Bolt on the finish line. So let's look at City and Guilds and get a much better and more rounded picture of where our students are. Are they at stage 1, 2, 3 in City and Guilds? And now compare that to CSEC. And we should get a better picture of what is happening across all school types and across the country. So again, disappointing, not excusing it, but saying that maybe what we need to do is to look to see, do we need other exams? How are we looking at the progress? And are we really and truly getting math right from the start? Hence the reason that Jones and I will always say, let's pump a little more into early childhood if we really want to fix the system.
Excellent. Mr. Principal, your colleague says that effectively the gaps at the early childhood level deliver students to the secondary school level where the teachers are then, by a process of alchemy or magic, transform those students into people who can reason through a math paper and pass a math paper. Is she correct?
Right, she's correct. And that is just one of the factors affecting the whole educational system. There is a multiplicity of factors, I can tell you. So Mistress Jones right here just mentioned the exam paper and so forth. We understand how the paper is structured. But when you look at it carefully, as I said before, there's a multiplicity of factors. For one, if you look at the home environment where the kids are coming from, for the most part, and I'm speaking from experience because I have a lot of kids coming from, low socioeconomic background, education is not the #1 priority in the home. That's one, and it's affecting students, the home environment. There's no set time for kids to study, set time for kids to go to bed and support. When you look at the school system itself, the different types of schools, what the research has shown is that the teacher, and I even said it to some of my teachers the other day, just today in staff meeting, the teacher is the single most important in-school factor that affects student performance. So when you look at the quality of teachers too, we're also having a problem. A lot of our very good teachers have migrated, and some of them have even, gone into different professions. We look at technology as well, and students are addicted to their cell phones and their tablets, and they spend an inordinate amount of time on these things, leaving little or no time to study or to prepare for their exams. So it's when you look at some of the schools too, you have overcrowded classrooms, the teacher-student ratio, one teacher to sometimes 40, 45 kids. You have the indiscipline in the society, students coming to school very late. There are students who are smoking, there is drug abuse. It's a multiplicity of factors. So like my dear colleague right there,
yes,
I am not surprised.
Yes.
We are not surprised that the grade is like this. And
yes,
we have to fix all of this thing before we can see any real improvement in student outcome.
Hear you on that. Hold it right there. Let's take a break here on Lead Story and come right back speaking with 2 school principals about the dismal CSEC results, especially where math and English are concerned.
has never been this good. Catch Made for Each Other weekdays at 12:30 p.m. on your drama station. Brought to you by
Hyundai, Ioniq, conditions apply.
The time by Grace. Taste that moves you is
6:45.
Look who we have in the cut. No, today episode I got nice. Legends, Senator, my longtime brethren, the great, all-star, the king, and the man himself. Salute! You know, as man, we're not too go as specialists, and that's the pinnacle of the problem. We want some new era. Do what you love and you never work a day in your life. Lie! You work till a week. It was pandemonium. Country people can't relate to me at all, but
What you think about me no matter, you know. What matter to me is what me think about myself.
Man United, I don't care what man wants to say.
you know, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, man.
You finish?
Yes, we finished.
The Cut is brought to you by Flo and Guinness.
Hi, I'm Celine Gordon, host of Holy Road.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy John Mark Wigan, host on the show Holy Road. Listen, people need to know what's happening in the churches and in ministry in all of Jamaica. It's an absolute blessing. We're really excited to share this.
Tune in to CVM, see it happen.
Welcome back to Lead Story, talking about the outcomes in education, drawing the conversation piece from the recent CSEC results published by the Caribbean Examinations Council. Region-wide, I can tell you the results are not so hot. And as students in this part of the world continue to struggle with English language, continue to struggle with mathematics, you compare those results to children in Asia at a similar age who are doing much better in terms of their exam results in these key subject areas, and even children in other parts of the world who are doing well, the Caribbean not doing so hot. And you must remember, in the same way that we have a finance minister, homegrown, forged here in Jamaica, who's been called up to serve at a higher level at the IMF, that's an example of how globalized the nature of work is and will be from this point forward. And so don't believe that if you're doing well in the Jamaican context, it means you're doing well. You have to be doing well relative to other people elsewhere in the world if it is that you are going by the mantra that the nature of jobs is indeed global. I have with me Kevin Jones, principal of Mona High School, and Annie Una Jones, principal of Marcus Garvey Technical High School. She's been in place since 2018 and has seen a lot of change at an institution. At one point, the Ministry of Education felt it was in need of special intervention from about 2011, and things have been trending in the right way since then. Kevin Jones, Mona High School, a lot has been achieved under his stewardship, especially where sport is concerned. They're the defending Manning Cup champions, and every Mona High School old boy and girl will tell you that, yeah, we are Manning Cup champions, and they have the chance to defend their title not too long from now. But, ladies and gentlemen, I heard you in that first segment, and I'm saying nothing that you've said is open to a successful rebuttal. However, given that the Ministry of Education pumps billions into education year over year, it is more than reasonable for any Jamaican taxpayer to ask, well, is the good lady and is the good gentleman saying that we should, give the challenges that they've highlighted, accept that we're paying billions for 18% passes in 5 subjects? And I want to come to you, Ms. Jones, and ask you for your response.
Boy, I knew you would have definitely bowled me that one. No, we should not expect, neither should we accept mediocrity. However, the definition for excellence will have to evolve. For instance, is it that 5 CXCs, inclusive of math and English, is the only measure of success? Are we inclusive of having the conversation with other exams? Are we looking as well at establishing clear starting points for children and the progress that's required? And let me tell you why I'm taking the conversation there. If it is that a school like mine, for instance, the bulk of our children who are coming into a school like Marcus Garvey are reading significantly below grade level. When you look at their ability test, they're testing in the bottom 12 percentile. Meaning, if you have 100 children lined up, from those that are testing in the top percentile all the way to those who would have come last in Jamaican parlance, we have the children in the bottom 12 percentile in terms of ability test. So in a context like mine, would the 5 CXC subjects, inclusive of math and English, be an accurate, fair measure of excellence? Or is it that you are looking at defining that excellence and that matriculation with a city and guilds, for example, in mind? In a school, for example, like an Immaculate or Campion that have the children testing in the top 97 to 100 percentile, would a measure now of 5 CXCs inclusive of math and English be fair? Or should their standard include 8 subjects, for including math and English? So the fact that the government pumps billions of dollars into alternative exams is also a measure for you to use that to also look at the outcomes and the outputs of school. So we do have to really and truly think about that particular measure. The other thing too is, are we testing what is needed for the now? Because the truth of the matter is we are churning out knowledge faster at this point in history than at any other point in history. Are we really testing just a whole lot of content or the children's ability to use the content? We have to look at those things too. The content in the curriculum in Jamaica is extremely heavy. And I'm talking about from the perspective of someone who has taught in 3 different jurisdictions. I'm a prime math trainer. I teach the Singapore method of math, and I am telling you that if we get the lower grades right, narrow down some of the content, and teach the children truly how to think instead of how to memorize, then it becomes easier for them to think about anything. So we're going to have to look at that as well.
And so, Kevin Jones, I put the same thing to you with the context being what your colleague, your counterpart just said, because the issue of the early childhood level and the fact that those students at Campion, Immaculate, Arden, Woolmer's, Girls, and the elite schools, the schools that occupy the top positions in whichever ranking of schools that you put credibility on, those schools get different students of a different profile than what you get and what the authorities get at Marcus Garvey Technical. And so, is it fair to judge by one standard the students coming out of primary school at different levels of advancement in thinking and doing? I'm not hearing you. You're muted.
Right, not necessarily. We all get different types of students, like what you said. And what we need to look at is the level at which we get them and how far we move them at the end of 3 to 5 years, grade 11. When they leave and, sit in their C6 subjects. The part about the finance, you see, money is not the fix. It's not the solution to all the problems plaguing the educational system. When you look at things like poor parenting and looking at the social factors in the society, that's also one of the things. I just spoke about parents not providing the necessary support to their kids and giving them the necessary resources. You have some moral issues, some ethical issues. There are students who no longer see the importance of education. It is not important in the home. They come to school late. They don't study. So no amount of billions of dollars that you pump into the system will fix that sort of thing. So
principal, with respect, but I'm saying, the education ministry can't have an allocation to fix parenting. It has to fix education, the pedagogy. That's what it has control over.
That's correct, but based on what you said the question that you asked is, if we are spending X amount of our GDP on education, shouldn't we demand more educators? Yes, but I'm saying it's not only the financial contribution by the government of Jamaica. We have to look at the other factors affecting education.
But if I go by what your colleague is saying, Kevin Jones, what she is suggesting is a rebalancing, because yes, the billions are there, apportioned and earmarked. But perhaps it is that the spending is skewed in whichever way, to the extent that not enough resources are available at the formative level to forge the kind of student that can do him or herself justice when they transition to the secondary level and are sitting external exams.
Right, and that is particularly at the primary school level and early childhood. So I totally agree. I concur with my with my colleague there, you know, but from where I sit as the headmaster of Mona High School, I can tell you this, the issue for our students is not necessarily cognitive, it's psychosocial. It's the social issues, it's individual attitude, it's their behavior, it's their views and education. You see, when education is not important in the home, the child doesn't see it as important at school.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that's affecting the society.
Yes.
And there are also alternatives where students believe that they can become successful by doing other things rather than going to school. It's a lot of things that play in the Jamaican society.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I honestly believe that those are some of the factors really preventing our students from excelling.
Ms. Jones, let me hear you. Let me hear you, Ms. Jones.
One of the key things that I want Jamaica to keep in mind, math is tricky. The truth is you'll have kids of mine who will be able to add and multiply money, but go over to plumbing and struggle. They'll be able to be in plumbing and electrical and cut a length of pipe by eyeballing it, but using a ruler is a challenge. And so the skill sets and where we're testing, we have to look at those as well. My kids make progress. I have an awesome set of teachers. I have a SWAT team of teachers. We are the last line of defense for some of the most vulnerable children in this country. And I will sing their praises everywhere. And I understand why the world wants Jamaican teachers, because we're good like that. The challenge too is the rate at which our children are making progress. Because if my students come in with a math age of grade 2, and I move them 2 grade levels every year, which is twice as fast as they will make that kind of progress in a traditional institution, for example, they still may only pass math at grade 15. They may take 2 or 3 additional years, given the rate of progress. So I'm coming back to looking at returns on investment.
Yes.
You have to look at it to say, if it is that you give me 200 children, 300 children, and 92 of them are reading below grade 3, and I move them